Hey guys, it's Sunday, February 21st. I'm going to go over what was discussed in the Cleanspark Fireside chat with Water Tower Research. So let's get into what they discussed. Alright, so the Fireside chat was with Zach Bradford. He's the CEO of Cleanspark. Pretty much I think it was mainly focused on their Bitcoin operations. So they pretty much started with a summary of performance. They indicated that the energy sector, they had 54% of increase in revenue. Their Bitcoin, they got a total of 700,000 revenue, and it was mainly only online for 21 days. So that's a good amount for the short amount of time. The margin is up 41%, the gross margins, and their EAPS was zero point 0.8 cents, 8 cents to the gap and 34 cents non-gap. One of the things I wanted to point out there was, during their Q4 review, I was questioning how their expenses were in accordance to the EBITDA and how the data center upgrade was to it. So it seemed like we were kind of on the right track there, because the CEO indicated that they're close to the EBITDA profitability. So he sees that in this current quarter. So that's going to be a very good thing for them. I can imagine it's pretty stellar compared to what has been happening with Bitcoin lately. Since let's take a look. So Bitcoin is at its all-time highs of pretty much above 50,000. So I think I've seen this as high as 57, I believe. Yeah, yeah. So Bitcoin's pretty much up there. So that's going to be a really big thing for them. We'll see here in a minute. So he discussed briefly that they have backlogs where they have proposals out that totals to 25 million. The ones that are contracted is totaling of 6 million. And he expects this to accelerate as the temperature warms up and organizations go back to normal operations. So that's what they're anticipating on. So let's see. They moved on to the new product offering, that service. I think it was like Empower or something like that. It was that residential product where they provide microgrid controllers and those kind of items for to have solar connecting and existing energy sources. So that's going to be available in pre-order in 45 days. So the tech came from their military and commercial. So it should be pretty solid from what they're saying. So they're trying to include in the future, they kind of gave light of possible partnerships, and it sounds like those partnerships are going to be providing the batteries. So I'm beginning to wonder if that is with Tesla, considering that they were a client of Tesla for their microgrid controllers. So that'd be interesting if that was the case. I don't know. Speculation. All right, so current things that have been happening around in the U.S., which would highlight the need for this, is all the brownouts and those kind of things that's happening in California. And also with the Texas disaster, with the latest and the snowfall and everything over there. So I believe it's been declared a national disaster or something in that nature. I saw something very briefly about it. And I did also, in same tone, I have seen articles about individuals having a Tesla Powerwall and solar. So, and they were not as impacted with the energy, the electricity shortage and outage. So that is going to be something pretty big for Cleanspark to get into. And they've also indicated that that's what their market research has done. But focusing really more on what they wanted, what the Fireside chat was about, they talked a lot more about their Bitcoin mining. They said that when they acquired the ATL data center, it was capable of 200 petahash. So roughly, that's about 1.4 Bitcoin a day. Okay. So with Bitcoin, when they had their ATL center up, it was roughly only up for 21 days before the quarter end. So that's why they were. It was pretty nice for them to be able to see some of that really nice revenue of 700,000 from that, which is in 21 days. So when they first started there, it was in the mid-teens, Bitcoin's price. So, as you know, they're miners, so they have Bitcoin as a part of their currency, the revenue. So when they do exchange it, sell it, they would get a higher price. From mid-teens to now, it's currently in the mid-50s. So that would be pretty profitable for them. So now they've added processing power. At the airing of the Fireside chat, he indicated that they're installing the last of the machines, and they were currently at 315 petahash, which is, they've almost pretty much close to doubled their capacity. Not a little below it, but 2.2 Bitcoin a day, which is quite a good size if you think about it. If it's 2.2 a day, so you look at maybe times 7, so that's 14. So let's say maybe 15 Bitcoins a week, and if they're at around a $50,000 range, that's quite a bit of good revenue for them. All right, so they're talking about the ATL data center. They're expanding to a second one, and they're adding an infrastructure of 30 megawatts. The great thing about that is that they, they're able to do this. One of their projections is to do this with clean, renewable energy. So that would increase their expenditures, or decrease their expenditures and increase their margins. So we'll look at more of that as we get to that part. But they're planning to go. Their plans is to go to 1.3 exahash at the ATL data center. So that's roughly, theoretically about 9 Bitcoin a day. But as anything goes, as more miners there are, or larger amounts of traffic and congestion and that kind of stuff, that can actually it may equate to between 6 to 9, which to them they say that's about a $115 million revenue per year just on that. So that's a pretty good substantial increase for them just on this sector of their income streams. So this will be a pretty big boon for them. So they're talking about their energy consumption is 285 per with their tech. So that's a pretty good from what they're saying is that's a pretty good efficiency, and they're trying to lower it even more. That pretty much equals to an 89% profit margin, considering you take out the requirements for power. So that's a very good return, considering that power is the main consumable item that has to always be there for this kind of operation, and if that's where they're going to increase their margins at. All right, so they were doing it for currently renewable. So they're going to offer their tech to other miners. That's the good thing about them, is that they can also expand their offerings to how they're modeling this data center into other offerings of other miners to support more efficient processing costs with them, with the power requirements. So that's a market that they can expand to. They indicated that if you're doing more than 5 cents per kilowatt, it's not going to be worth it for you to do any kind of mining. So that's where one market they can tap into, right? As far as if you did a comparison with Cleanspark to, I would say Riot, the gold standard, they reached 1 petahash. They're about a third of Riot as far as their market cap. So if you look at their market cap, it's 4.82 billion, and Cleanspark's is 879. So they're roughly about a quarter of them. This may have changed. That information may have changed since the last time I looked it up. So about a third to a quarter. So if you look at that, that market cap, I mean, they have a lot of room to grow, and compared to Riot. So it'd be interesting to see what kind of revenue Riot makes, to see to see if we can compare that to Cleanspark. We'll have to look at that at some other time. So, all right, getting back to it, they do have a lot of room to grow. So that's kind of the biggest thing with them, is that according to their peers, they're small and up and coming. Okay, so I mean, if you take a look at their data center as far as being operational now, and with the high increase of Bitcoin transactions, this should be very lucrative for them. All right, so they did touch on the because there's a lot of news about class action lawsuits to them. So they actually, one great thing about the whole format of this fireside chat is that this is my first one attending. They were pretty point blank about it. And good thing is that the CEO responded. They deny the claims. They call it attorney advertisement, and they expect it to not really get anywhere. The company hasn't been served, so for most part, but they did hear that there has been one filing been done. So, but the overall, the CEO ended up with him saying they're not really worried about it at all. So they think it's completely bogus. As far as insider trading, the confidence level of the CEO and its other members, executives, they've actually purchased a total of about $250,000 to $350,000 into the company. So they have high confidence in the company's ability to be successful. I would probably have to agree with them, considering just the Bitcoin mining portion of the house. Again, I'm not a professional financial advisor or analyst or a trader. I'm just sharing my thoughts about this whole thing. All right, so they shifted a little back to the residential solution. They indicated that price point entry was a very high priority for them because they wanted to they wanted to be massively available and adopted by the mass market. So they indicated that the entry point can be under 10,000. So that's a pretty good item. Considering I've been looking at Tesla myself, and for my house, if I was to get the solar panels and everything, I believe it's going to be about 32,000. So having some kind of entry level item that would be closer to 10,000 or below, that's fantastic. So I definitely would like to see that as an option. Okay, so Bitcoin. They were indicating that they are selling some of their Bitcoin to capitalize on the prices of Bitcoin. So they indicated that they've sold about maybe 50%, but probably holding more than 50%. But it's closer to the 50% area. So that's good for them, especially at the current Bitcoin prices. Their capex, they expect to increase from 1 million to 2 million. So that will be something that they'd have to look at. But at the same time, it's like that means they're probably doing acquisitions and expansions and all that stuff. And if they're able to increase their intake of Bitcoin up to 6 Bitcoin a day, usual, or a minimum normal, then that's a pretty good intake per day. At current prices, 6 times 50 would be 300,000 a day they make just on the mining side at future expansion rates. So the current right now 2.2. Let's just round it down to 2. I mean that's a third of what that Bitcoin intake would be. So 100,000. All right, so that's pretty much it, guys. I mean, they're good about doing their expansions. Their return on investment they say is about roughly 6 to 9 months. That's kind of, I think, what they use for the timeline of the ATL expansion. The ATL acquisition. Very strong ROI on both sides, and they're looking to aggressively expand this side of the house and then also their power side of the house. So that's pretty much it, guys. Hopefully this helped you. Hopefully it helped you out and help you feel good about the company, because I think they're going to do pretty well. As far as their stock performance, it looks pretty bullish to me. This is the day right here when the Fireside Chat was scheduled to air, but I don't think it didn't air until about 3:30 p.m., which is around this time frame, a little later. So this might have been a pre-run up. With most people probably know about how their bullish outlook is for 2021. So I think that would be good, and that airing of this would be more advertisement, I guess, more visibility to more investors on the company's performance too. So I'm looking to be pretty bullish, looking to push on the upside here. We'll see. We've been kind of trading sideways. I'm wondering if it is going to do a pop or if it, may go down and come back here, but we'll see. I think I'm pretty bullish on it because these are pretty small candles compared to what it was before. So hopefully we won't run out of steam to put to an uptrend. The RSI and the MACD look pretty fair. The RSI is at 58, which is fantastic considering that it didn't go as high as I normally would see it for that kind of jump. So I think there's a lot more to give, but we'll see, because I mean this thing is not fully set on starting to point up. It did level off though. So overall, I hope, like saying like to have a upside. One of the things I like to point out is that these previous wicks before, hopefully we'll able to clear a lot of these, and but we may get up here, and then it may just take off, but we'll see, because there's an intersection of GAN angles here. So what I've always known that to be in the past is something interesting is going to happen here. So for them, I don't know. That's quite a ways off for this stock to jump during that time frame, or maybe we do sideways or go up a little bit, and then maybe here we'll hopefully just do a big breakthrough and get up, start getting up onto the next level of higher highs. I don't know. We'll see how it goes, or if it decides to break down and try to trade sideways for a little while. We'll see how it goes. So hopefully we'll have some volume Monday morning. All right, guys. That's pretty much it. Pretty bullish on the company. I see their Bitcoin side of the house being very strong, and they have a clear plan of how to upgrade the current data center to more, and their target of 1.3 petahash is good. And they also have the ability, they have good ties with the industry to where they can look to acquiring or having partnerships with other Bitcoin miners to increase their presence in the space. So those are really good catalysts for them. So yeah, pretty good outlook. And then of course they have the power side with the microgrids and all that. So hopefully we'll start seeing a lot of things from that. All right, guys, that's it. Have a good night.